A deflection is a chess tactic where you lure an opponent piece away from an important post, where it might be controlling an important line or protecting a file or controlling a square. It is doing some important job and then we lure it away from that square. It is very similar to the decoy, and a lot of people get confused between decoy and deflection. But let me clear it out. A decoy is where you lure an opponent piece onto an undesirable square from where tactics will occur. Whereas in deflection, you lure it away from an important square, again for the tactics to happen. For example, here the black queen is the only piece protecting both f8 and h7. So it is on an important square, because if it were anywhere else, one of the two checks would have been possible. So what do? We deflect the queen. We play rook f8 check, and the queen has to take the rook, and now the queen has been deflected from the 7th rank. And now we play queen into h7. So that is a deflection. Now that you know what it is, we're going to solve 5 puzzles ranging from an ELO rating of 0, which is absolute beginner, to 2500, which is basically grandmaster level. Let's begin with level 1. This puzzle has a ELO rating level of 0 to 500 rating. So this should be easy for you, and it's white to play. Pause the video and try to find the answer. I'll give you 5 seconds. Well, the correct answer is rook into e7. Obviously, we're a piece up and we're threatening queen into g7. So he has to take. But now we deflected the black queen from the 8th rank. And now we can play queen c8. And he can block, and we can take, and we can say good game. Moving on to level 2. In this position, the difficulty level is 500 ELO to 1000 ELO. So a bit tougher, but still not very tough. White to play, pause the video and try to find the answer. Well, the correct answer is in fact rook into d7. The point is, the queen was defending both d7 and f6, and the knight was pinned to the bishop on e7. So a lot of things are going on. If you want me to go back, I'll just show you. This is a pin, this is a pin, the queen is defending this, the queen is defending this. So a lot of things are going on here, and we disrupted this entire ecosystem by playing rook into d7. When now whatever he takes with, we will inevitably get 2 pieces for a rook. And already we had an extra pawn in the starting position, so that should be winning. If he plays knight into d7, then we play queen into e7. And again we have 2 pieces for the rook, so this should be winning for us. And if he takes queen into d7, then we first take bishop f6 and then queen f6. And in fact, even looking at the position, you can see white is better. His pieces are way more active. His rook is going to come to d1 next. Whereas black's pieces are pretty bad. This guy is stuck to this defending this pawn. This rook does not have a clear target. And overall, white is just better, even material wise and piece activity wise. So he's completely winning. I hope you found this puzzle. Let's move on to level 3. The difficulty rating of this position is 1000 ELO to 1500 ELO. So things are starting to get spicy. White to play, pause the video and try to find the answer while I give you 5 seconds. Well, the correct answer is pretty shocking. You would have expected something to happen on the king side. And in contrary, the answer is rook b8. As you can see from the precariously placed black king, if we just managed to get a queen on the h file, it would be mate. That's exactly what we're trying to do with rook b8. We are deflecting the queen from defending the h4 pawn. And as you can see from the arrows I have drawn, the knight and the bishop work together to make sure that the queen has no square in the h4 to d8 diagonal where it can successfully defend the h4 pawn. And after he takes our rook, we play queen into h4, threatening mate. And the only way for him to delay the mate is to play the rook somewhere. When after check, king f8, we again play check, and it's in fact a mate because the knight on d5 is controlling e7 while the pawn on g6 is controlling f7. So the king is trapped and in fact checkmated. That was a good puzzle. Moving on to level 4. This position has a difficulty level of 1500 to 2000 ELO, and from the looks of it, it doesn't look pretty hard. I mean, white is up 7 points, right? What should be so hard about this? But the thing is, you must realize that white cannot win with the 2 knights alone. He needs the pawn. White to play, pause the video and try to find the answer while I give you 5 seconds. Well, the correct answer to this puzzle is in fact knight c6. We don't care about the knights. We don't want the knights. The knights cannot checkmate on their own. The point is, we are deflecting the king from attacking the d4 pawn. So obviously, if he doesn't do anything, we will get our king or we will get our other knight and we'll successfully defend the d4 pawn, and from there it's an easy win. So he has to take, and now knight b6. Again, we are deflecting the king from the d5 square this time. And as you can see, the knight covers d5 while the pawn covers c5. So the king has no real way to make progress. He can take the knight, but that would just lead to getting our king to a key square, which is an easy win. By the way, if you don't know how to win this or you don't know what are key squares, you can check out my endgame playlist here where I talk about pawn endgames in detail. Meanwhile, if you said knight to c7 here, it's a bad move. Because after king takes c7, king f7, king d6, white is just one tempo short. Again, tempo was covered in the endgame concepts video. It basically means extra move. The black king can now successfully capture the pawn and the white king is too far away. So that is why knight b6 was the only correct move there, after which we have already seen the win. I hope you found it. Let's move on to the final level, which is level 5. In this position, the difficulty rating of it is from 2000 to 2500 ELO rating, which is basically grandmaster level puzzles. It is white to play. Please pause the video and try to find the answer. Even if you don't get the answer, thinking in this very position will actually improve your chess a lot. I hope you found the answer. The correct move is in fact knight e to c2 check. You should have realized that white's best hope here is to draw, because black's promotion is looming and white has only 2 knights. So even if white somehow manages to capture both black's knight and the f2 pawn, it will still be a draw because he can't checkmate with 2 knights alone. So after knight e c2 check, black has 2 options. He can either go king b2 or king a2. If he goes to a2, then you have to find the resource knight c4. Obviously we're threatening to come to e3, so black will have to promote. But now we play knight b4 check. If the king goes to b3 or to b1, we answer both of them with knight d2 check, and black's queen is lost. So he will have to play to king a1, when again we play knight c2, and now again if he goes to king b1 we play knight d2 and his queen is lost to a fork. So we'll have to play king a2 and we again play knight b4, and black has a very sad choice to make. Either he can give up his queen and accept a draw, or let white carry out a perpetual check. So that is a draw. If he plays king b2, however, this won't work. Now we have to play knight e3 with the simple idea of stopping the promotion of the pawn. You might think, well, what was so hard about that? The point is, you have to look at black's resources as well. He can use the deflection against us and play knight f5 check. The point is, if you take the knight, which is a very bad move, he can successfully promote and he will win the game. That would have also occurred if you played knight e3 after king a2. He would play knight f5, and in fact here he would win. But in the king b2 variation, after knight f5, we have a resource, which is king d3. The point is, we're not interested in his knight. We're just trying to bring our king closer to the pawn so that we can capture it. But obviously, black can take our knight. And now if we try to capture the pawn directly with king e2, he'll promote to a queen and it's supported by the knight, which is very unfortunate because after we take his knight, he's also going to take our knight and he'll win easily. So instead, we use a counter deflection. Yes, I just made that up, counter deflection, which is knight c4 check. Now you see why the king being placed on b2 was very important. If he takes the knight, which is, he'll have to take, right? Because if he moves his king, then we can take this and it's a draw. So if he takes the knight, then we don't take the knight. Instead, we go for the pawn with king e2. And black's pawn is inevitably lost. Wow, that was a good puzzle. I hope you did solve it. And if you did, congrats to you. But if you still want an extra challenge, I have one for you. Upcoming is the bonus puzzle of this video, which is probably even harder than Grandmaster level. So here it is. This position is white to play. Pause the video and try to find the answer. We'll discuss it in the next video. Let's go to the answer of the bonus puzzle from the previous video, which was decoy. So this was the decoy puzzle and it is a pretty surprising puzzle. And considering that white won this is also a bit of a surprise. Let's see. After the correct move, which is rook fg1 check, black has two options. Either he can play king f4, after which rook h4 check, king f3 and bishop e4 should suffice because now his queen will have to take. And this is an easy win. So he can't play king f4. He'll have to play bishop g2. Again, if he plays king f3 also, then we do the same thing. We just add a rook h3 check in the middle. And then again rook h4 check and then this. So he can't go to f4 or f3. You have to find the defense bishop g2 for black. After which we take the bishop obviously. And now again he cannot go to f4 because of rook h4, which is a skewer. So he will have to come down to f3. And now is the decoy part. We play bishop e4 check, which is again a beautiful decoy. Because obviously if the king takes, then we give a check and win the queen. So he will have to take with the queen. And now, my friends, this is the hardest part of the puzzle. What if I were to tell you that this position is a mate in one move? Would you believe it? Not really, would you? But the truth is, it is a mate in one. And the correct move is castle's checkmate. Did you expect that, guys? I mean, castling is not the first move you think of, right? But like I had said in the decoy video, it is a composed puzzle. So I'll give you a tip while solving these kind of puzzles. En passant, castle, all these moves are considered natural to be possible. I know, even when I was solving this puzzle, I was like, but how is castling even possible? It might have just been that the rook had moved and come back to h1. But then I realized that it's a composed position. It didn't actually happen in a game. So that is why castling was possible. And in fact, the only move to checkmate. That's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe so I can keep making content like this. If you really like this video, do share it with your friends and family. And also, don't forget to leave a comment below on which puzzle you like the best. Till then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.